We are very interested in what witnesses to the crash may have to report. I would like to ask anyone who witnessed this crash or who has useful information about the crash or who may have photos or video of the crash to either contact the Chattanooga Police Department, who will pass that information along to us, or contact the NTSB directly by email at witness@ntsb.gov. Since we are just beginning the investigation, we do not have a great deal of information, but we will keep you informed by providing updates as we learn more. So thank you again for coming. I will be happy to take a few questions that you might have. Yes, please.
Bob Mueller with Channel 2 in Nashville. Looking at the scene and looking at the accident vehicle itself, is there any indication that one factor may have contributed more, vehicle problems, speed, something like that with the speed of the curve?
The question is, what factors, is there any indication that one factor may have contributed more to this crash than any others? And it's too early in the investigation for us to know, but we will look at all factors. We will look at the situation regarding the bus, regarding the driver, regarding the company that operates the bus, regarding the regulatory scheme overseeing this entire operation. We will look at the totality of the situation to try to determine what caused this and try to make recommendations to prevent it from happening again. Yes, please.
Michael Warner with WRG in Memphis. Whose decision was it to move the vehicle, and why did you move it?
The question is, whose decision was it to move the vehicle and why was it moved? That would be the decision of the local authorities. They are conscientious about the need to open the road sooner rather than later if possible, and that happened actually before we arrived on scene, so we were not involved in that decision. Yes, please.
Chairman Alan Bunner from the New York Times. Do you expect to speak with the driver of the bus, and do you have the authority to compel him to speak?
The question is, do we expect to speak to the driver of the bus? The answer is yes. Do we have the authority to compel? Not if he exercises a Fifth Amendment right.
Chairman Hart.
Yes, please.
Mr. Hart, we're hearing reports that the bus driver may have made some statements to the children prior to the bus crashing, indicating that he may have deliberately crashed the bus, or indicating that he may have been trying to perhaps scare the children, remarks that their parents are relaying to reporters. Can you address that at all?
The question is about statements that the driver may have made to the students. We will interview the driver. We have not yet interviewed the driver, and we will have access to the interviews that the police department has already conducted of the driver, but we have not got that information yet. Yes, in the back.
Multiple parents we spoke to said that their kids had reported to school officials before that this driver had been driving erratically. Are you all looking into that at all? Is that a concern of yours?
The question is about parents reporting that the driver had been driving erratically. That's the reason that I asked for any witnesses who have information that's pertinent to this crash to let us know, because we need to know all of that information in order to help us conduct a complete investigation. Yes, please.
Lauren St. Germain with Channel 9 in Chattanooga. Would, just looking at the preliminary investigation, would seatbelts have made a difference at all?
The question is, would seatbelts have made a difference at all? We have made recommendations regarding occupant protection. We will be looking in this accident as to whether seatbelts may have made a difference. It's too early for us to know at this point. Yes, please.
Hilarious is from the News 12 of Chattanooga. Just to piggyback off of that last question about the seatbelt, could that be a standard in the future? You also talked about preventing something like this happening in the future.
Another question about seatbelts. We have made recommendations that lap belts are good, lap and shoulder belts are better. We've made recommendations that upon purchasing new buses, consider the benefits of lap and shoulder belts, but we have looked at safety as a holistic situation involving not just belts, but also other forms of occupant protection inside of the bus, and we will be looking in this accident as to what it can help us learn about occupant protection. Yes, please.
Mariana Tensi from NBC News. Is the bus driver still in jail?
The question is the bus driver still in jail? I do not know the status of the bus driver currently. Yes, please.
Chairman Hart, David Curley from ABC. Personally, you knew what happened in that bus. When you saw the wreckage, what struck you? What did you see? And in more general terms, talk about seatbelts and what the board has been saying for decades.
The question is what struck me when I saw the bus. I am not an expert regarding what damage tells you about a bus. The bus was severely damaged, as we know, so I don't have any personal comments regarding what the bus looked like and what it told me about what it had been through. Regarding seatbelts, again, we are looking at the holistic approach. It started with what's called compartmentalization, which really addresses longitudinal crashes, does not address side impacts or rollovers, and that's why seat belts become part of the picture. But even with compartmentalization, we still need to be concerned with hard surfaces that can cause injury even if you're compartmentalized. So we're looking at the totality of the protection inside the bus, not just belts, but the totality of protection. Yes, please, in the back.
Has anyone from your team seen the video? Does it have audio? Can you tell us anything that has been seen on it? And also, how big of a piece of evidence will this be in this case?
The question is, have we seen the audio? We know there are 2 cameras in the bus, and we have not seen the audio from either one. We're also going to be looking at whether the engine chip on the engine control monitor has any information that would be useful to us. We don't know the answer to those questions yet.
You said
Yes, please.
Mike Miller with WGC Chattanooga. The company Durham, have you been looking into that? What is their record?
The question is about the company Durham. We will be looking into that company and into their past and how they have operated and what kinds of safeguards they take and who they hire and how they train them and situations like that. We have not done any of that yet, but that will be part of the investigation. Yes, please.
Do you know how many miles the bus had on it?
The question is, do I know the mileage of the bus? No, we do not know, but we will find that out in the course of our investigation. Yes, please.
There have been reports from parents saying there's, notice that the bus driver had been driving recklessly in the past before. Will that be a factor in this investigation?
The question is about comments from parents about previous behavior by this driver. Once again, that's why I put out the request for witnesses who have information that is useful to us for this accident. We need that information, whether it's just testamentary information like that or pictures, cell phone video, whatever you have. We have a witness in a car behind, for example. So any information like that is very important to us to conduct a complete investigation. Yes, please.
Erica Wathan, WGTV Nashville. Can you just give us again your initial assessment when you arrived, what the scene told you about speed or impact or any of that?
The question is about my initial assessment. We have just started today. We still have investigators on their en route as we speak, so we really have not had time to do a thorough investigation of the scene, as we will in the 7 to 10 days that our investigators will be here. Yes, please, in the back.
Will Robinson Smith, WAY out of Huntsville. As far as the driver's past history, there was an incident back in September, which police recorded, where he was in a minor accident involving a Kia Soul. Is his past history, how much does that weigh into the investigation?
The question is about the past history of the bus driver. We will certainly be looking into that. We have heard about an incident previously, and we will be looking into that and any other previous incidents. We know that this driver only obtained his commercial license in April, so he has not been driving commercially for that long. Any further questions? Yes, please.
Could anyone else face repercussions for this, i.e. the school, this company that you're looking into, and what might those be? Are we talking charges? Or?
The question is, could anyone else face repercussions for this? We are not here for the purpose of punishing anybody. We are here for the purpose of determining what caused this accident and making recommendations to prevent it from happening again. The punishment would be left to other authorities, not to us. Yes, please.
Will the modules and the cameras on the engine compartment give you an exact speed limit of what this vehicle was traveling as it made the curve or when the impact happened?
The question is, what information will we get from the cameras and the electronic control module for the engine? Yet to be determined. We don't know the quality of that information. We don't know whether they were turned on. We don't know. We still have yet to find out what possible information. Ideally, the cameras will tell us a lot of information as well as the electronic engine control module, but to be determined. Yes, please.
Lauren Davis with WBLT out of Knoxville. Do you have any witnesses who have come forward that actually witnessed it yet?
The question is, do we have any witnesses that have come forward? We do not, but we know that the police are aware of a following car. So that witness we have, but we are looking for other witnesses who may know not only about this event, but also we talked about previous behavior of that driver. So we need all of that witness testimony we can get. Yes, please.
Do you know where on the bus the cameras were mounted?
The question is, do I know where the cameras were mounted? I do not. My investigators may, but I do not know where the cameras are mounted on the bus. We are told it's an external facing camera and an internal facing camera, but exactly where they were mounted, I don't know. Yes, please.
Are you aware of any other investigations into the Durham company by NTSB?
The question is, am I aware of any other investigations into Durham by the NTSB? No, I am not, but it may be happening and I may not know about it. Yes, please.
Have you had a chance to speak to any of the families, and what have you told them?
Question is, have we spoken to any of the families? We have not spoken to the families yet, but that is part of what we are here to do, is to provide assistance to the families of who lost loved ones in this crash. Yes, please.
You've established that Durham is an outsourcing company. What has been your experience with outsourcing and any of the other accidents that you've covered nationally?
Question is, what experience have we had with outsourcing of school bus services? No specific experience. Some outsource, some don't. It's quite variable. There is no generalization that can be drawn from the nature of that relationship.
Time for 2 more questions.
2 more questions. Yes, please.
If you're not going to determine the cause of the crash while you're here, what are you going to determine? How do you know you're done in Chattanooga?
The question is, if we don't determine the cause while we're here, what will we determine? What we will determine is all of the evidence that we can get from the scene, as well as all the perishable evidence, things that disappear in a hurry. So witness memories. That's why it's very important to talk to witnesses sooner rather than later, because it's amazing how much witnesses are influenced by like what they read in the paper, what they see in the media. We want to hear from witnesses before that evidence is lost, perishes. So that's what we will get from the on-scene portion. Last question, please.
So once you leave here, what is your next step?
Once we leave here, what is our next step? We have extensive examination to do into all of the aspects of this off-scene investigation to look into all the aspects of Durham, of the regulatory situation, of the driver's history, of lots of aspects of this accident that we dig and dig and dig. We don't like to go home without the answer. We will determine what caused this accident, and we will make recommendations to try to prevent it from happening again. So thank you again for coming. We will have future media opportunities. Talk to our press officer who will tell you about some of the future media activities, but thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.